I'd like to talk a little bit about Mr. Darkfang. He talked about critiques and whether or not they're warranted, which caused me to have to look up the word warranted in the dictionary. Sanction or authorization. I guess in that mindset, critiques are not warranted if they're not sanctioned by the person that's being critiqued. That is true. But if you dig a little deeper, sometimes, a lot of times when you dig a little deeper, what you find is the secondary meaning of warranted is ground or justification. Critiques are justified. And as for a lot of people like to roll like this, but I roll like this. Pardon the hair. So, what I wanted to do was talk a little bit about critiques and whether or not they're warranted. Critiques are something that is a major component of free speech, and it's something that is going to happen anytime that you put your views out there. You're going to get people that are going to talk about their belief systems. And the beauty about critiques is that if they don't make a whole lot of sense, they're like a balloon. They just stand up there floating along and are latched on and speak for themselves in the lack of sensibility that they have. What the beauty of critiques is it gives everyone a chance to think for themselves, decide how they feel about a certain thing, and make their own decisions. And then sanity and powerful, well-formulated thought stands for itself. And if you're making sense, people are going to relate to that, and people are going to understand it, and people are going to move and be drawn to it. We can critique. As I'm not waiting for your request for a critique, I'm actually making that critique on my own, because I feel like there's a major fallacy that you're bringing forth, saying that the critiques are not warranted. Yes, they are warranted. You know, if you're drawing lines of enemies and creating, or a warlike, passionate stance and fighting to be left alone, you're looking for the very thing that's at your door. You're creating it. You're creating the duality that stands before you. You are looking in the mirror when you look at a troll, Mr. Darkfang. And if you really wanted to elevate your game and anesthetize the attacks, well, your methods would have to change. And as for the subscribe and friend thing, actually, I subscribed to you because I wanted to see your videos, because I was interested in what you have to say. It wasn't a question of like. Yes, the word friend should be more on that wavelength, but actually with me, with friends, I've friended a lot of people who not necessarily I consider friends, but who are actually just real people who've either reached out to me, or I have reached out to the people that I felt more in line with. But I accept friends from real people who I'm just acknowledging their humanness. It's not necessarily sanctioning their thought system per se. And also addressing the troll thing, I also don't condone these attacks and these vicious manners in which people are approaching each other as a live and let liver. I find it interesting that what happens in so many of these battles is that both sides end up really bloodying themselves in terms of integrity, and I fear that we're viewing a situation just like that. And in a way it hurts, because, like, for instance, one of the chief trolls that I listen to, because he makes sense and is well spoken and brings forth a lot of the issues, is Ultraforge. I'm not saying that I'm going to give him a gold star. I will say that I'm interested in hearing his views And also, I'm open to hearing your views. You speak fairly well, and you have things to say. The fear I have is that you're putting forth a lot of fallacy, and you're having a lot of your furries stand behind you because you're representing a strong voice. The thing is that your voice is flawed. So I mean, if you were a little bit more flexible and open to criticism, saw it as warranted, and had the flexibility to grow through it, I would see less flaws. You dictate to your own people within your fandom and basically tell them how to think without fully giving them a chance to open up. So I mean, I see this fascism word being rolled out in a way that causes me to sincerely question your validity. And I welcome your critiques, and find that in this case, in multiple usages of the word warranted, they're warranted, and I hope that you are respectful in the acceptance of what I have to say, and understand that things are much more. The reality tunnels that we deal with are much bigger than our own, and as we expand our perspective, we will enable ourselves to get a better insight into what it is to be alive in a general term, and to be a human being, and to represent humanity. Whether you're a furry or a troll or just a bystander.